I'll tell you a little bit, like, general idea. You know, some people know about sort of the role of counselors on campus, but maybe not everybody. Maybe some people are new. So I am a personal counselor. It's a mental health counselor here. In the model of the Alamo colleges, counselors do focus on mental and behavioral health. So mental health wise, of course, I have the task of providing direct mental health services to students. So basically some free short-term personal counseling. But I'm also a member of our behavioral intervention team, which is known as SOBI, Strategies of Behavioral Intervention. That's something that's specific to the Alamo colleges, but pretty much any university or college that you go to nowadays has some kind of behavioral intervention team of some kind. So SOBI is it for us here at MBC. So with that, I am tasked with maybe sometimes risk assessment, you know, working together with our law enforcement and things of that nature to try to help out students who are maybe, like, their situation might be a little bit more elevated.
Right.
And also consulting with faculty and staff as well, like, and trying to help out as they deal with student situations. Yeah, absolutely. I will say pretty much any mental health provider that you speak to will always talk about depression and anxiety as being kind of the common cold of the mental health world. Like, that's something that you're always going to see. Now, we don't, because of the environment that we're a short-term environment, we don't diagnose here, but as a provider, I still have to be familiar with diagnoses. And then also students are coming, honestly, more and more to the table. They're coming already saying, hey, I've already worked with a provider. I know I have this diagnosis. So they kind of come with their history as well. So major depression, for sure, super common. Generalized anxiety disorder, also very, very common. I'm noticing a little bit more ADHD in some individuals on autism spectrum. So certain sort of neurodivergent kind of things are going on for sure. I will say, like, in terms of the pandemic itself, I've noticed that there's a lot of students now. I mean, I don't know, maybe we have short memories. I know right now people are like, oh, we're all good. But I'm still seeing some ripple effects of the pandemic, and I'm seeing a lot of students struggling with getting into the swing of things. I think it depends a little bit. Like I said, I've seen more and more, there are students coming in right off the bat saying, hey, I've already talked to my doctor about this, or I've already had a therapist and I was diagnosed with this. So sometimes people are coming in knowing, hey, I know this is what's going on. I'm really just kind of looking for support or to kind of practice my skills or learn strategies or things like that. Other times you have individuals who are coming in that this is really the first time in their life that they've been hit by these feelings. And that's super confusing and frightening in and of itself, right? So let's say, for example, like, we'll use that as an example. A student coming in saying, like, this is really weird. I felt some kind of way, or I noticed, like, I was shaking like a leaf and I had no idea why. I'm sitting on the other side of that, you know, conversation, kind of like sort of checkboxing in my head. Like, are we talking about maybe an anxiety attack or a panic attack that happened, right? To me, the style of therapy that I was trained in places great importance on allowing the client to really be able to expand on their own story. So approach wise, I try as much as possible to give people a good chance to really flesh out what's going on, because I think one of the things that's really important in people sort of feeling settled again is to feel like that they've been heard. And a lot of times people feel really nervous, or they feel like they were trying to hide this from people, or they felt like, look, even if I shared this with certain people in my life, they would have been dismissive of me or skeptical of me because they think mental health is fluff or, you know, whatever, right? So I try to create a different kind of a space. Like, when I'm in a space with someone, especially if they've never really done counseling before and they don't know what to expect, they're nervous like crazy, I try to value that. Like, I try to respect how much courage it took for that person to come in, and I really want to make sure that they understand that in that space, like, their story is going to be heard. After that, and I have this conversation with individuals all the time, I'll let them know, like, my function or the way that I view my role is to be in alignment with what kind of goals you have. If you have a goal that I think is going to cause you harm, I mean, I might tell you so because I have an obligation, and also I just don't want you to get hurt, right? But other than that, if a person is like, I want to feel better, I want to not feel so nervous when I'm doing this or that, or I want to socialize differently, that kind of thing, I feel like my role is to support that direction, that trajectory, right? And after that, though, this is a very, very, very high level sort of general philosophy of mine. I feel a big part of my philosophy as a counselor is to help people kind of regain sort of their sense of autonomy, to kind of flex their muscles.
Control over their environment.
Yeah, and even with a counselor, because some people are like, I don't know, counselor, tell me what to do. And I'm like, I'm not here to like tell you what to do. I'm here to support like the direction you want to go. Well, let's see. So obviously there's, you know, you got to get the bachelor's, and that took me 5 years because of some, you know, misdirection in the beginning, I guess. And then I got my master's degree. I did take a semester break, but I got my master's degree in about 2 years.
Okay.
Now, with LPCs, you have to complete internship after you graduate. You have to take a state licensure exam, and then you have to complete a 3,000 hour internship.
Wow.
Right. So for sure, I would say like, and I will pull from my own experience. When I was going through my educational track, I was a little bit just sort of, I don't know how to explain. I was just kind of checking off boxes. But what I really wish looking back was that I had spent more time sort of talking with my instructors, talking with members of the department. Because there's a lot of different paths that a person could go on when it comes to psychology. In reality, most people who go into psychology, there's probably something like 70% of people don't do counseling at all. They do like cognitive psych or industrial industrial psych or things like that. Or there's a lot of people who do research, as opposed to the applied psych stuff, which is like the actual counseling piece. So I'd spend more time maybe getting to know some different people in their own different career paths and learning a little bit more about that earlier on. And also spending some time learning about the different licensures that are available. Because as I mentioned, I'm an LPC, but a person could very easily pursue the social work track, become an LMSW, specialize and go into their LCSW and find themselves in a very similar career path at the end of the day.
Right.
I think it's and I think that that's a very, very viable career path as well. So I guess I'd spend more time talking to instructors, getting to know members of the department, trying to talk to people who've been in that field, and talking to people about the differences and all the different kinds of licensure, because that's a big that's a big nest, I guess. Like
yeah.